I'm Megan.
I'm Kristy.
And I'm Auntie B. And we are
Homebrew Murder Crew.
I forget how we were supposed to do it. I always forget.
Probably choreograph that before we do it.
We should.
It's fun.
It's fun. It adds to our charm.
Our quirkiness.
If we had it together, would it be us?
Yeah.
It would be as interesting if we were really, truly. Okay, just make sure nobody's on mute. Okay, perfect. Hello, patrons.
Hola.
Hi.
I look very big and Kristy looks very small.
We can, if someone manipulate the camera, that's totally fine.
No. It's just so
Sorry.
Sorry. It's
sorry.
late, you guys.
Yeah.
It's late. Everybody's tired. I'm sorry. I have to cross my legs. I'm probably going to snuggle up with you a little bit there, Brittany. But
You feel better?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I have
Okay.
I have a bit of a headache.
oh.
All right.
Okay, well, it's a microbrew. We will blast through it, hopefully. Excuse me. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hi.
So we're just going to get right into it. If you guys want
love
any updates, if you're watching this before you're watching the full episode, which is episode 57, I believe, that Megan just did, then...
Notes.
Oh,
57.
that's what you're saying.
Yeah, I was just letting you know, and I can confirm that.
Yeah, perfect.
I have notes.
Great. Then you can watch that, listen to that one, and it'll have updates on all the true crime stuff that we talked about. So, anyways, let's hop into this microbrew.
Love it. Let's do it.
This is called Anne Perry, A Life of Shadows.
Ooh, I don't know this.
Okay. So, Anne Perry was born in London on October 28th, 1938. She was the daughter of Hilda Marion, I don't know how to pronounce the last name, but Hulme, maybe? Hulme. Hulme?
Like home. Yeah, like kind of like
Hulme?
Hulme.
Like
kind of like a poem,
Hulme.
but it's a home.
yeah, it's like Hulme, or it's like plume, but not.
Yeah, it's kind of like
Hulme.
it's Hulme. Home, or we're gonna say that, but and physicist Henry Rainsford Hulme.
Sorry, don't do it. I started the change. Sorry.
She was born as Juliet.
Oh.
So she was diagnosed pretty early in childhood with tuberculosis, and she was sent to places like the Caribbean, South Africa, and New Zealand in hopes that a warmer climate would improve her health. We've all heard that old trope before, that a warmer climate in the fresh air should improve, if not cure, tuberculosis. Unfortunately, that is not the case, and that's the story for another time. But so she was sent to these various places. She ended up rejoining, she recovered. She ended up rejoining her family after her father took a position as a rector of Canterbury University College in New Zealand. And she attended Christchurch Girls High School, which is located in what became Cranmer Centre. And it was here that she met her best friend, Pauline Parker. And the two girls shared a passion for writing and acting, and they often created stories and plays together. So what seemed like a rather innocuous shared interest at the time turned into actually an obsessive relationship between the two. And through their shared stories and plays, they became pretty disillusioned from reality.
Oh.
Yeah.
That sounds fun.
So, yeah, they became pretty disillusioned from reality as they spiraled deeper and deeper into their fantasy worlds that they created. The girls spent hours concocting stories. They renamed themselves Gina and Deborah, which, in the time, I guess, but I wouldn't pick that name for myself, but and they made plans for a life of fame and fortune as actresses in America. You're gonna be a star, kid.
Just in a very different way, I imagine.
Yeah. So while both families were initially pleased with the friendship, they're like, yeah, stoked. They're so good. Oh my God. That scares me because it's like, oh, my son, he's having this really nice friendship with a boy, and like it's all gonna go really good, but it might not. And like in this case, so
Is that? Never mind.
their parents stoked. They're like, great, they have this great friendship. They soon grew concerned with how
Why?
close they were.
Oh,
So when Juliet was once again hospitalized, unfortunately, with tuberculosis, the families saw it as an opportunity for the girls to actually spend some time apart that they felt was much needed because they were so concerned about how close they were and how dependent they were on each other.
Well, and they're probably witnessing some of that obsessive behavior too.
yeah.
Yeah. So, but their friendship resumed with the same intensity once Juliet was discharged from the hospital. Pauline's parents, they were concerned about the codependence of their daughter's relationship. So they took her to see a psychiatrist who informed the parents that, hey, we're kind of thinking that they're maybe a little homosexual.
Oh,
And they're kind of into each other in
and this
different
is
ways.
1938,
1950s. Yeah, 1950s.
So definitely not in an era of time where it's okay.
I was just going to say that, Brittany. You hit the nail on the fucking head with that one because they're suspected of having a homosexual relationship at this point. And in the 1950s, when this story is unfolding in New Zealand, being gay was actually considered a mental illness.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, no. I
Yeah.
don't like this.
So it was around this time that Juliet and Pauline discovered that Juliet's mother was having an affair with the lodger or somebody who's renting from their home. His name is Walter Perry. So as things progress in that, 1954 rolls around and Juliet's parents are going through the process of separation because, yes, there's infidelities that are occurring in this relationship. And Juliet is supposed to go to South Africa to stay with her relative, but there's other sources that say that she was just to leave New Zealand with her father altogether. So not really sure on that and the conflicting sources on that. But either way, the two teenage friends who had created a very complicated fantasy life together, they didn't want to separate.
Of course.
At all. So they suggested to their parents, like each separate set of parents, that Pauline could maybe go with Juliet to South Africa, but both sets of parents were staunchly against that idea and they just flat out refused. So on June 22nd of 1954, the girls and Pauline's mom, Honorah, they went for a walk in Victoria Park in the Port Hills of Christchurch, and the three of them had tea in a kiosk. I don't really know what that means, but I guess in New Zealand that I would assume is just like this little like street thing.
Yeah.
Or, you know, like a little cafe.
Yeah.
Like kind of, or whatever. Yeah. So they went in this kiosk, they had tea. Afterwards, the three of them had set out on their walk. So just walking through the park or whatever. And a short while later, the two girls returned to the kiosk. They ran there and they're covered in blood and they're screaming for help. And the police were called and Honorah's body was soon discovered on the path.
Oh.
And that night as well, police found Pauline's diary, and in it, it was revealed that the girls had actually been planning Honorah's death since early June.
Oh, geez.
Early June. So this happened like the end of June.
Yeah.
They've been planning it since early June. So what happened is that on an isolated path, Juliet, after their tea, on the isolated path, Juliet drops a pink ornamental stone or something so that Honorah would lean over to retrieve it because like thinking it's something important. So distracted, the girls attacked. And they were carrying a half a brick that was wrapped in a newspaper originally, and then they placed it in one of their stockings. And they used it as a weapon to just bludgeon Honorah. And so this is Pauline's mom.
Oh, Jesus.
Pauline's mom.
Yeah.
They bludgeoned her. The girls presumed that the blow would kill her, that the one blow would kill her.
Oh, my goodness.
But it took more than 20.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
So the pair told the woman at the kiosk, whose name is Agnes Ritchie, that Honorah had tripped on a plank. This is crazy, you guys. That, she tripped on a plank and her head just kept banging and bumping as she fell. Who trips? When have you ever tripped and just been like, doing, 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 like,
Oh my god.
that doesn't make any fucking sense,
No.
girls. But they're young. They're young girls. They're young girls, right?
Right.
And they're desperate young girls.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So this is what they tell the kiosk girl. But Agnes, the kiosk lady, she heard the girls laughing as they were washing the blood from their faces. And they went to the bathroom or whatever and cleaned themselves up. And she heard them laughing about it. So she's like, that doesn't make me feel very good.
No.
But then once Honorah's body is collected and everything, the medical examiner found 45 wounds on her body, which were concentrated around her head and neck.
Jeez.
Yeah. So it was pretty brutal.
Yeah.
The female officer who escorted the pair to court overheard Juliet say, "The old girl took a bit more killing than we thought."
Oh.
And then the officer asked her, like, "I'm sorry, I beg your finest fucking pardon. Can you repeat that?
Oh.
What the fuck did you just say?" And Juliet shot back. She's like, "Oh, aren't we the perfect little policewoman?"
Oh no. Okay. How old are these girls again?
I think 14.
Oh my goodness.
Or something.
They need a good schmuck up the side of their heads.
So Juliet,
A little more than that.
yeah, Juliet and Pauline stood trial in Christchurch in 1954, and they were found guilty on August 28th. Like, oh yeah, that's a speedy trial, yes, because the murder took place in June of that same year. So yes, that's a very speedy trial.
That is a very speedy trial.
I mean, some of these things take years,
Yeah.
right? So as they were too young to be considered for the death penalty under New Zealand law at the time, they were instead convicted and sentenced to be, quote, detained at Her Majesty's pleasure, end quote. Sorry to move you there, Brittany. So they were released separately 5 years later.
5 years?
years.
Oh God, did they find each other?
They were released separately after 5 years, and at the time of Perry's death in 2023, Parker and Perry. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
It's Perry is Anne, who is Anne is Juliet, and we'll get to that in a second here. And Parker is Pauline.
Okay.
Yeah.
And she is.
So
Yeah.
Perry, so Juliet, she died in 2023. And so at the time of Juliet's death in 2023, Pauline and Juliet were not to believe to have had any contact since the trial.
Oh,
So
okay.
they never found each other again.
Really?
After all of that. Yeah.
That seems odd.
It does.
Yeah, let's talk about why I'm bringing up all these different fucking names and confusing the shit out of everybody.
Yeah, because I've got Anne, Perry, Juliet, Pauline Parker, Gina, and Deborah. I don't know where Gina and Deborah came from.
They're the
they're made up
imaginary names.
Yeah.
They're imaginary names. Okay.
Yeah, so we're going to make it all make sense right now. So after serving 5 years in prison, Juliet Hulme, Juliet emerged with a new identity.
Oh no. Okay.
And that identity was Anne Perry.
Oh.
So as many do when they come out of something like that, when they come out of a murder trial or whatever, they assume a different identity so that they're kept out of the public eye a little bit more. But she reinvented herself as a successful author, author of historical crime fiction, gaining international acclaim for her Victorian-era mysteries featuring characters like Inspector Thomas Pitt and William Monk. She moved to England, where she worked small jobs until 1967, and then she relocated to San Francisco, California, and eventually to Los Angeles, where she began her writing career. And eventually she would move to a remote village in Scotland to be with her mother, where she drew upon her own criminal experience to pen best-selling historical mysteries set in Victorian England.
Wait, what just happened?
April.
I'm kidding. This is real.
Oh my God.
You guys, this is fucking so real. This is so real. Okay, so let me continue.
Okay, so
the events formed the bias. These events formed the basis, for the 1994 film Heavenly Creatures, in which Melanie Linsky portrayed a teenage Pauline Parker and Kate Winslet played the teenage Juliet Hulme.
What?
Hulme.
Heavenly Creatures.
Heavenly
This seems
Creatures.
familiar.
Kate fucking Winslet. And at the time of the film's release, it was not generally known that the mystery author Anne Perry was Juliet Hulme.
Oh my God.
So her identity actually was made public after journalists tracked her down some months after the film's release. And although some presumed that Juliet and Pauline's relationship was sexual, as did the fucking psychologist or psychiatrist or whatever, Juliet actually stated in 2006 that while the relationship was obsessive, she did not deny that, it was never sexual.
No.
Yeah. So Anne Perry now, also aka Juliet, but Anne Perry now, her life and work are a testament to the complexities of human nature.
Oh my God.
She was both a convicted murderer and a beloved author.
What?
A woman who committed a horrific crime, but also found redemption through her writing. Her story raises profound questions about the nature of forgiveness, the possibility of change, and the power of storytelling.
Ooh.
Pauline's diary records. So now we're back to Pauline.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Anne,
Famous author,
yeah. You know, whatever, done, gone, she's the author or whatever. Pauline, her best friend, who she was obsessed with, she had these diary entries and everything that we know that she was obviously planning her mother's death at some point. So Pauline's diary records her thoughts and fears about being separated from Juliet. And the girls began plotting to kill Honorah actually as early as February of 1954, according to her diary.
Mm-hmm.
So the entries are actually
That's like
pretty
5 months earlier.
from June.
Yeah.
Holy shit. So the entries are actually pretty disturbing. And I'd like to share some of those with y'all.
All right, let's do it.
So months before the murder, she wrote, quote, "Why could mother not die? Dozens of people are dying. Thousands are dying every day. So why not mother and father too?" End quote.
Okay.
By April, she admitted, quote, "I'm trying to think up some way. I do not want to go to too much trouble, but I want it to appear either natural or an accidental death." End quote.
Which it didn't look like either.
No.
Like you take a brick and you put it in a stocking and bludgeon someone to death with it.
Yes,
But
but
they
as
tripped and fell and repeatedly hit their head on the ground.
as teenagers, you're not
that's
thinking
true.
logically,
I guess
and you're
Okay,
literally-
fine.
it's
That's
processed. Everything's processed strictly through emotion and not through logic,
Yeah.
right? Okay, so 3 days before the murder, she wrote, quote, "We practically finished our books today, and our main like for the day was to moiter mother." Yes, moiter is how it's written.
Moiter mother.
Moider. To moiter mother. The notion, it's like she's trying not to get banned from Meta.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we did not do the job of that.
It's so
tonight.
hard not to get
No, I
mad
did
at
not do that, but that's okay.
So Moiter Mother. The notion is not a new one, but this time it is a definite plan which we intend to carry out. We have worked it all out and are both thrilled with the idea. Naturally, we feel a trifle nervous, but the anticipation is great. End quote.
Just a trifle.
Just a trifle nervous.
1950s, remember? Do you remember? So
I
the
don't
night
remember.
before the moiter, she wrote, quote, I am writing a little of this up before the death. I felt very excited the night before Christmassy last night. End
oh my
quote.
God.
The night before Christmassy is how she described the night before moitering her mother.
That's insane.
Oh my
Like, that shows you a lot about the mind frame.
Yeah.
Totally. And that is all.
That's
Wow.
crazy.
That is fucking crazy. What other books has this Anne?
Yeah, I want to look at these books now.
I'll share it with you guys.
Any that we would know?
I don't know. I looked through them and nothing would like really caught my
Okay.
eye, but like
Jesus. That is crazy.
like I don't know if
Like,
she's like
it's
Anne
just-
Rice famous with like
Yeah.
mystery murder novels.
But like,
or
it
anything,
kind of
but-
just goes to like show you, like, it is weird to understand how much life goes behind an individual before how you know them.
right.
Yeah.
Right? Like, here's this woman that's lived all this life and has murdered somebody and now become a famous author.
Famous author.
Famous author.
Famous author.
But it's like, yeah, I don't know. It's a weird thing to think of. All these mics at me now.
Well, this way you have your options so that
I
if you want to
could've
talk
been
to
real
me,
bad.
you can. If you want to talk to her.
No, it's strange to think about how much life and how much you don't really actually know about people at all.
Mhm.
Maybe one of us is secretly a murderer, a teen murderer that was released and now has this
No,
mystery
but
addicted.
I,
No, just kidding. We don't.
Megan, I told you about my story plot line that I want to write.
Yeah.
Or I don't know if you remember, but
Yeah.
we can talk about it on camera
Yeah.
and off mic. But
Yeah.
like, and I'll obviously tell you too.
Yeah.
But like, this reminds me of that idea that I had.
Yeah. That's wild.
Except that I haven't committed capital murder on
Oh,
anyone.
yeah,
So
right.
there's that
Yeah.
little detail that's different.
That-
What the fuck are we talking about right now?
Well,
I'll tell you after, but this is the end of my microbrew. So
yeah.
thank you,
Thank you for
everybody.
listening,
Thank
guys.
you, everybody.
It's late.
Thank you,
These
Kristy.
girls want to go home
For
and go to
microbrew.
bed. You're welcome.
Yeah, we've had a long night, hey?
We have.
We've done an episode in Microbrew. We've also transferred our wine. We did a photo shoot
Wow. Yeah. We're
with
busy.
Shelby at Healing Soul Stills.
Yeah.
Healing_souls_stills on
Thank you.
Instagram.
Yes.
Thank you, Shelby.
Thank you, Shelby. Keep an eye out for those photos.
Yes.
Keep an eye out for more episodes and more microbrews. And thank you.
Yeah, and if there's anything
Thank
extra
you.
that you guys want to see that like maybe we're not thinking of, like we want to do behind the scenes stuff and like, you know, I have an idea for my next full length. No, it'll be 2 away because I promised everybody who's out in the wild, I promised them an actual murder episode next time. Because I haven't done an
That was murder. Well,
yeah, but it's Patreon.
right?
Yeah,
Damn.
it's a full one. So I
Don't-
do have one of those
Yeah.
on the go.
Don't
Yeah.
worry, when I start delivering episodes again, I've got all the crazy murder stories.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That include like heads in ovens and stuff like that. Yeah,
Love
it's gonna
it.
be great. It's gonna be so good.
Yeah, you got to put them in the
You have to
spreadsheet.
because I'm feeling like we might be covering some other things.
All right.
Spreadsheet.
Okay, everybody.
All right, guys.
We love you. Thank you so much.
Thanks
Love
for
you.
listening.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in. Bye.